What is inheritance and how does it work? Inheritance is the process by which genetic information is passed on from parent to child. Therefore, members of the same family tend to have similar characteristics. Each cell in the body contains 23 pairs of chromosomes. One chromosome from each pair is inherited from your mother and one is inherited from your father. Each cell contains genetic material from the two parents. This is my family. My siblings and I all have genes that we have inherited. Each human has two genes intended for eye colour, one brown or blue and one green or hazel. Brown is the dominant trait over all other alleles, whilst green and hazel have incomplete dominance. The different forms of genes for eye colour are caused by changes called mutations. The same goes for hair. Brown hair is dominant over every other colour and is the most common. Now back to my family. My mother has blue eyes and blonde hair, recessive traits. Her mother has hazel eyes, one of the rarest eye colours, and blonde hair, whereas her father has blue eyes and blonde hair. My mother has blue eyes as it is the dominant gene. There was an 100% chance that she would end up with blonde hair. On the other hand, my father has brown hair and eyes, which are both dominant traits. His father has both brown hair and brown eyes, whereas his mother has green eyes and blonde hair. This is my sister Lauren with brown hair and brown eyes. This is my older brother Alexander with brown hair and brown eyes like my sister. This is me, the first child to end up with blue eyes and blonde hair. Lastly, this is my younger brother Ethan. He has blue eyes and blonde hair. For this to be possible, it refers to Mendel's law. Mendel's law of inheritance is a type of biological inheritance discovered and originally proposed by Gregor Mendel in 1865 and 1866 and rediscovered in 1900. Gregor Mendel was born in 1822, long before the idea of inheritance. He spent his whole life experimenting with pea plants to determine the possible outcomes. Gregor used peas in his experiments primarily because he could easily control their fertilization. Mendel discovered that when he cross-fertilized smooth yellow pea plants and wrinkly green pea plants, every pea resulting from the first cross was yellow and smooth. Although when two smooth yellow pea plants from this first generation were crossed to create a second generation, the outcome was 75% smooth and yellow and the other 25% wrinkly and green. He knew that each plant carried two sets of instructions, one from the father and one from the mother. The smooth yellow peas grew back as it is the dominant trait, whereas wrinkly green peas are recessive. Dominant traits appear the most and are most common. When an allele is dominant, it is expressed in the phenotype over a recessive allele. A recessive gene can be masked by a dominant gene. To have a trait that is expressed by a recessive gene, you must get the gene from both of your parents. There are always two possibilities with the dominant genotype, for example capital P and lowercase p or capital P and capital P, whereas recessive traits only have one possible genotype, lowercase p and lowercase p. Homozygous individuals have two of the same alleles, whether recessive or dominant. Heterozygous individuals have one of each of the two different alleles. When a homozygous and a heterozygous cross, there is a 50% chance that the offspring will be one or the other. To show how this is the case, Mendel used Punnett squares. So, how did my siblings and I all end up with different genes? Well, for this to be possible, my mother must be homozygous and my father must be heterozygous. There was a 50% chance for either one of my siblings and I to inherit either a brown phenotype or blue and blonde. Next time you look in the mirror, discover what traits are from your father and which ones are from your mother. Goodbye for now.